It's been an exciting postseason run here for our Miami Marlins, and today we continue with games 3 and 4 of the NLCS in Queens against the Mets. Last episode we played games 1 and 2, splitting them. We lost the first and won the second one, losing game number 1 6-4, and then winning the second one 4-1. I think the moral of the story through these first two games, and really the postseason as a whole, is that our offense has not done enough. We scored 4 runs in each of these games, which is not all that bad in a vacuum, but we also only got 11 hits total through these two games. In the first matchup, we got no base runners until the bottom of the 6th inning, where we finally got the home run from Isaac Stu, but it took us nearly 6 innings. In game 2, it was much of the same. We had no hits up until the 5th inning, but luckily we got some guys on. We were able to drive in some runs, and our pitching was good enough to get the win. In each of those first 2 games, our offense was good in the second half, but completely non-existent to start. As we look at our guys' postseason stats, only Isaac Stu has a postseason OPS higher than 800 amongst qualified hitters. And of our main guys, nobody has a higher OPS than they had in the regular season. Not a single one. We need guys to step up, and I get we're playing against better teams, which means better pitching, so naturally it's going to be a little bit lower, but we need a few guys to rise up to the occasion. Our pitching staff has been red hot. We get Edward Cabrera on the mound in Game 3 against Mike Soroka. The rotation has been brilliant. The bullpen has been quite good as well. But we need the offense to wake up. One of the best lineups in all of baseball over the last few seasons so far has let us down in the postseason, and it hasn't costed us in the win column yet, with us still beating Chicago in the first round and splitting the first 2 games against the Mets. But it's inexcusable to not get any hits until at least the 5th inning in both games 1 and 2 of this series. So hopefully we can rebound here in Game 3 on the road. Both teams starting their aces today, as the Mets are going to have Mike Soroka go on the mound for them. Soroka has been brilliant in the postseason so far. As we take a look at both lineups, James Wood getting the start in the outfield instead of Brian De La Cruz. As we take a look at Mike Soroka, who's 2-0 in 3 postseason starts, he's allowed just 2 runs in over 19 innings of action, as he starts with Kevin Alcantara, who gets fooled on the slider. Great pitch to start things off from Soroka. Full count now for Jazz Chisholm. He takes a walk, and the Marlins get their first base runner. All Miami has to do is get some guys on early, unlike they did in each of the first 2 games. Isaac Stu is now up. He's been arguably the most consistent offensive player for the team in the postseason so far, as he strikes out, checking his swing. That'll bring up Woody Landry, who's ahead in the count 3-1, and he skies this one high and deep into right field. Meadows at the track, at the wall, it is gone! 2-run homer for Woody Landry, his second of the postseason, and the Marlins strike first here in the top of the first inning. We got no hits up until the 5th inning of each of the first 2 games, so what do we do here in Game 3? We start things off with a Woody Landry tank. Woody has only hit slightly above 200 in the postseason so far, but he has still reached base at a high level, as his on-base was 345 before that at-bat. I assume it's gone quite a bit up now. Jesus Sanchez goes down looking. Soroka makes it through the inning, but not before allowing a 2-run blast for Woody Landry to put the Marlins on the board early, giving themselves some early run support for Edward Cabrera, who for all we know might not even need it. Now, Cabrera was really bad in his first postseason start, but he looked a lot better in his second. That was Game 5 against Chicago, an elimination game with our season on the line, and he threw 7 scoreless innings, looking a lot more like the MVP, Cy Young pitcher that we know him to be, as he faces off against Brandon Nimmo, who strikes out on the fastball as Cabrera retires the side. The last time we pitched with Cabrera here in New York was at the end of the regular season last year, where, of course, he threw a no-hitter. MJ Melendez leads off the second. This one is high and deep and a left. At the track, at the wall. It's gone! A solo home run for MJ Melendez. His first home run of the postseason. And the Marlins add to their lead. It's now 3-0. It appears the offense has, in fact, come to play so far tonight. Khalil Watson now with a liner in the right center. It's got carry, and that one is gone. Solo home run for the rookie, Khalil Watson. His first career postseason dinger, and it's now 4-0. The Marlins have gone deep 3 times against Soroka, who only allowed 2 runs in his first 3 postseason starts of the year. Following batter, Kevin Alcantara with a sharp liner into right. It's caught, and that'll end the inning. Still a very successful one for the Marlins as they get 2 with a pair of homers by Melendez and Watson. Bottom 2, Francisco Alvarez goes down looking on the fastball. Cabrera's second punch-out of the night. Josh Naylor into the opposite field with a base hit. Naylor has been phenomenal for the Mets throughout the postseason. He's been really good so far in this series, homering twice. No-hitter today for Cabrera, it looks like. Bobby Witt Jr. grounds it up the middle, past the diving glove of Jazz Chisholm, and that'll go for a single into center. The Mets now have 2 base runners aboard, one who happens to be really slow, one who happens to be really fast, as Austin Meadows strikes out on the fastball. Big pitch for Cabrera. Now Yoan Moncada. He grounds it over to short. Jazz, the throw to first is in time, and the Mets leave 2 stranded. It's all Miami through the first 2 innings as the Marlins lead at 4-0. Into the third, Isaac Stu with a grounder to short. It's bobbled. Throw to first, not in time. An E6 from Bobby Witt Jr. And so the Marlins get a runner aboard. That'll bring up Woody Landry, who homered in his previous at-bat. Count is full, and he takes a walk. I wouldn't want to throw to him if I was Soroka either. 2 on, full count, 1 away for Jesus Sanchez. He goes down looking on the fastball, looking to draw the walk, but that pitch was barely in the strike zone. MJ Melendez homered in his first at-bat of the game. 3-2, pops it up into center field. It looked like he topped it, and it will be caught by Brandon Nimmo. And so Soroka gets out of the third without any additional damage done. Bottom 3, Ronnie Mauricio goes down looking on the curveball. What a great pitch by Cabrera, painting the corners. Now against Santiago Espinal, the 3-2, swinging a miss on the sinker. And Cabrera is looking strong through 3. He's only allowed 2 hits. And no further strikeouts as we move into the 4th. Luis Rengifo leads it off for the Marlins, and he rips this one into the gap. That one goes 109 off the bat. He's going to be thinking extras. Makes it into second safely with a double. That's the Marlins' first hit of the game that did not go over the fence. They've gotten a handful of walks. Obviously, they have the 3 homers, but no hits in play until that one. And that's going to yank Soroka out of the game. He'll be replaced by Diego Rodriguez, who's got an ERA at 11. Soroka only makes it 3 1/3 innings as Khalil Watson draws a walk. He reaches base for a second time today, and the Marlins get 2 runners aboard. That'll bring up Kevin Alcantara, 2-2. He's going to hit this one sharply into right field. It's got some carry at the track, at the wall. It's gone! 3-run homer for Kevin Alcantara, his second of the playoffs, and it's now 7-0 Marlins. Miami has quickly turned this game into a possible blowout. All 4 of the Marlins' home runs have barely scraped over the fence. If this was a pitcher-friendly park, the Marlins probably would not have gotten any of those homers, but we're not complaining. Jazz Chisholm gets plunked. Rodriguez obviously not pleased allowing the homer, so he's throwing at Jazz. And now the Marlins are out for blood, hopefully. Full count for Isaac Stu. He draws a walk. Another base runner for the Marlins, who are just tallying them up like infinity stones at this point. Woody Landry's up now, lefty on lefty. Swings and misses at the fastball. Big strikeout for Diego Rodriguez. He needed that one desperately. Jesus Sanchez is now up. Count is 2-2. Pitch on its way. Ooh, that's a close one. It was in the strike zone, but they're going to call it a ball 3. Count's now full for Sanchez, and he draws a walk. Oh, God, the bases are loaded, and all 3 of these batters have not gotten on off of hits. The Marlins only have 5 hits today. Make it 6! MJ Melendez singles into center, 1 run scores. Second looks to join. Throw from Nimmo is offline. 2-run single for MJ Melendez, And the Miami Marlins lead it 9-0. We wanted to set the tone offensively. I didn't know this was going to happen, though. Ooh, another close call. James Wood gets the benefit of the doubt again. Count is now 2-2. And Wood capitalizes. He rips it into the opposite field as it rolls to the wall. It's now 10-0. Melendez looks to head home. The throw from Bobby Witt Jr. is in time. He's out. And that'll wrap up the fourth. A gigantic inning for the Marlins, who score 6 runs. They lead it 10-0 with only 7 base hits. They've gotten a lot of homers. They've gotten a lot of walks. They're getting guys on base and capitalizing. Bottom 4, Brandon Nimmo singles into center. I think the underrated part about us having this big of a lead is, assuming we hold on to the lead, we don't need Cabrera to bust his arm for 130 pitches and go 7 innings. We can take him out after 4 or 5, or maybe even sooner if he keeps allowing these hits. That's Francisco Alvarez who reaches. Josh Naylor now grounds it to second. Watson looking for 2 to Chisholm, who bobbles it, making the throw to first, and the Marlins only get 1. So a big break there for the Mets, who certainly need it. And they've got runners on the corners for Bobby Witt Jr., who's going to single this one into center. Run scores, and the Mets are on the board. It's 10-1. Cabrera allows a run for the first time in, his past 11 innings. Austin Meadows, full count. Swing and a miss on the fastball. That one was right down the middle, too. That'll bring up Yohan Moncada, the 1-2. And he grounds it up the middle. Cabrera should be able to make the play, and he does. So the Mets get 1 back here in the fourth, but they still trail by a lot. 10-1, despite the fact that the Marlins only have 2 more base hits than New York. We've also got 9 more runs as we move into the fifth. Luis Rengifo leads things off. He started off the fourth with a bang as he swings at a pitch he shouldn't have, but it actually ends up working out as that one's going to bloop for a single. Rengifo should have been a little bit more patient. He wanted to protect there, but hey, it worked out. Khalil Watson grounds it up the middle. Can the Mets turn 2? Yes, they do. Big play for the Mets infield as they try to continue to dig into this lead. Kevin Alcantara rips this one into the gap, and the Marlins keep getting guys aboard. Alcantara makes it to second with a double as Miami looks to potentially add to their lead. When we were in this situation in the 5th inning in the first 2 games, we were looking for base runners. Here in Game 3, we've got 10 runs as Jazz Chisholm strikes out and Prince Lindstrom makes it through the 5th for the Mets as we go bottom 5. Cabrera will stay in the game for now. I can't imagine it'll last much longer. Nice play there by Woody Landry, scooping it up at first base for the second out. Let's see if Cabrera can finish off his night here against Santiago Espinal with a full count, and he strikes out on the sinker. 5 innings of 1-run ball for Edward Cabrera. Now, again, normally he would stay in the game, but the Marlins are up 10-1. I don't think Miami's going to need him. You never know, but I think we can reasonably look to take him out now, which is going to save his arm, hopefully, for later in the postseason. Isaac Stu leads off the 6th. He hits this one high and deep into center at the track. At the wall, it's caught by Brandon Nimmo. That ball had a lot of carry, but it doesn't quite make it over. Jesus Sanchez now with a liner into center. Can Nimmo make this play? He does not. The diving grab is unsuccessful. Sanchez rounds second. He's looking for a triple. Throw to third. Not in time. He's safe. A 2-out triple for Jesus Sanchez. We'll see if MJ Melendez, who's had a great game today, can drive him in. Counts 2-2, and Melendez hits this one into the gap. It looks like it'll drop. It's actually going to make it all the way to the wall. Nimmo bobbles it. Melendez is going to hold up at second, though. That's an RBI double, and thus the Marlins now lead it 11-1. That'll bring up James Wood, the 1-2, and he hits this one solidly into center. It's caught by Nimmo. Miami adds another run, though, with the RBI double by MJ Melendez. It's a 10-run deficit as we're going to bring Gennaro Miller into the game. Miller's obviously been with our team for a while. He's been on the postseason roster for a few seasons, but he's never pitched in a postseason game until right now. Want to get him that experience and show him what it's like to pitch in October as he starts by allowing a base hit to Nimmo. Jesus Sanchez unable to make the grab out in left field. And so the Mets start the inning with a base runner as they look to get this game a little closer. Filthy pitch, though, a curveball barely squeaking in the strike zone, and Alvarez is the victim. Josh Naylor now singles into center, and the Mets get themselves another base runner as they look to add a couple runs here. First and second now, that'll bring up Austin Meadows with 2 away. Lefty on lefty crime. Doesn't matter. Meadows rips it into left, and the runner's going to look to score. Throw from Sanchez is only to the cutoff man, so the run scores. It's now 11-2. Yoan Moncada now singles into center. Naylor looks to score. James Wood, his throw is not in time, and it's 11-3. So the Mets get a couple of runs here in the 6th. They won't get any more as Ronnie Mauricio strikes out. Not a bad inning for New York. They get 2 runs. Are they back in the game? I don't know. Still got a lot of work to do, down by 8. Again, despite only having 2 less hits than the Marlins as we move into the 7th. Jacob Berry comes into the game off the bench, replacing Luis Rengifo as he hits this one high and deep into center at the track. At the wall! It's going to go off the top of the wall. Nimmo unable to make the play, and Berry is into second with a double. Last year in the NLDS, Jacob Berry raked against the Mets, and he gets his first postseason hit against the Mets, and it looks like he should score. Khalil Watson hits this one into the gap, and it's now 12-2 as the rookie makes it to second with a double. Watson with a really strong game. He's homered, he's doubled, he's walked, he's doing everything. Jazz Chisholm now bloops this one into left. It's caught. Khalil Watson looks to score off of the sacrifice, and he does so. The Marlins get the 2 runs right back that New York just scored, and so it's now 13-3. Another pitching change for the Mets. Lindstrom's day is done. He'll be replaced by Salvatore Russo, the Italian-looking lefty, as he faces off against Isaac Stu, who lines it into center, caught by Nimmo. But the Marlins do add 2 here at the top of the 7th. They lead 13-3. And we're going to make it through the rest of this game pretty quickly, assuming there's no craziness with the Mets trying to pull off a comeback as Woody Landry starts off the 8th inning with a single. Jesus Sanchez now rips this one into center. Woody's rounding second. He's looking for third. The Marlins still going to be aggressive as he's safe. Just because Miami's up by 10 doesn't mean they're going to stop hitting. This is a postseason game. The game ends when the final out is recorded in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jacob Berry now with 2 on and runners on the corners. Rips it into left center. It bounces off the wall. 1 run scores. Sanchez looks to join. The throw from Witt is not in time. 2-run double for Jacob Berry, and the Marlins lead it 15-3. Brian De La Cruz off the bench. He's even getting in on the action. Singles into center. The throw to the plate is not in time. Berry scores, and it is now 16-3. That'll bring up Kevin Alcantara back to the top of the order for a 6th trip. Umpire says he went around. He obviously did not go around. The umpire is just trying to throw the Mets a bone. It's been a long day. Into the 9th inning, Alec Bohm off the bench. He gets a base hit, and now the bases are loaded with 2 away. Oh, God. MJ Melendez grounds it over to third. The Mets look to turn 2. They do not. Melendez is safe at first. Another run scores, and it's now 17-3 with runners on the corners. That'll bring up James Wood. He's been kind of quiet today, only 1 for 5, as he skies this one into left center. It looks like it will be caught by Manuel Margot, and I would have to assume that we will not see any more of the Marlins offense. The disaster is finally over for the Mets pitching staff, allowing 17 runs. Joe Shearer is going to come in to finish out the game, and it looks like he'll retire at the side as Brandon Nimmo flies out to center. It's caught by Wood, and that'll do it. The Marlins win Game 3. They take a 2-1 series lead. Wasn't an overly anticlimactic game considering that we scored, 17 runs. And I think the funniest part about this game is this isn't even the best offensive performance by either one of these 2 teams in the postseason. I mean, for Christ's sake, the Mets nearly scored 17 runs in 1 inning. against the Dodgers in Game 5 of the NLDS. So as good as we played here today, nothing will beat the Mets scoring 20 in an elimination game against the Dodgers, including 16 runs in the 5th inning. But still, not complaining at all. An unbelievable offensive performance from the Marlins. I called out the offense coming into the game. We did not start games off well. In each of the first 2 games, we did not get a hit in the first 4 innings. And sure enough, today, we got 10 runs through the first 4 innings. 4 homers, a bunch of guys driving in runs, a bunch of guys with multi-hit games. Edward Cabrera did his job. The bullpen did their job. The Mets offense wasn't terrible. They got 12 hits. But when your pitching allows 17 runs, you're not going to have a fun time. And with that, we lead the series 2-1. And I'm really curious to see how both teams respond coming into Game 4, because this last game was an uncharacteristic one. I mean, for Christ's sake, we scored 17 runs. That's a lot. So I'm curious to see, for one thing, if the Marlins can keep up their offensive explosion and carry the momentum into this matchup. And on the flip side, how did the Mets respond? They just got completely demoralized. They lost by 14 runs. That's 2 touchdowns. 17-3 is supposed to be a New York Jets loss, not a Mets loss. So I'm really intrigued to see how their pitching does. They're going to throw out 21-year-old left-hander Coco Pozo, who will go against Max Meyer for the Marlins. With Pozo being a lefty, the Marlins have shifted around the batting order a little bit. Rengifo and Melendez moving up to the top. Obviously, those guys are the lefty mashers. Coco Pozo is coming off a not-so-good first postseason outing. He pitched against the Dodgers, got the loss, allowing 5 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Pozo is a rookie. He started in 26 games this year. He was pretty solid, ERA a little bit above 4. As Luis Rengifo leads things off, he hits it high and deep into left center at the track at the wall. It's gone! A solo home run for Luis Rengifo, his second of the postseason. How did the Marlins respond from scoring 17 in Game 3? They lead off Game 4 with a dinger. It appears the offense might not be going anywhere. MJ Melendez strikes out. Pozo needs that one. It feels like the Marlins have all the momentum right now carried over from the last game. And Pozo needs to pitch the game of his life. Woody Landry skies this one up into center. Doesn't quite have enough carry, though, and it is caught. The Marlins score another run, though, with a homer from Luis Rengifo. And Miami already on top. They lead 1-0. I think it's fair to say, unlike Games 1 and 2, the offense will, similarly to Game 3, not look abysmal through the first 4 innings. Here is Max Meyer, who's coming off a historic first postseason start, pitching in Game 4 against the Cubs, an elimination game for us, and he took a perfect game into the 7th. I can't imagine he'll pitch as well today, but hopefully we can get a fraction of that as he strikes out Margot. Santiago Espinal now goes down looking on the fastball. Great pitch by Meyer. Can he retire the side? Facing off against Brandon Nimmo. 3-1. Did he go around? He does not. So there's a walk. Perfect game's already dead for those counting at home. Francisco Alvarez grounds out to third. Rengifo makes the play, and through the first inning, the Marlins lead it 1-0. Let's see if the Marlins can get some more runs here in the second. Miami scored in 7 of the 9 innings in Game 3 as Jazz Chisholm grounds it up the middle. Bobby Witt blocks it, but Jazz Chisholm's too fast. That's an infield single, and Miami starts the inning with an early runner on base. That'll bring up Kevin Alcantara, one of the many Marlins to homer back in Game 3, as he rips this one into right field for a base hit. And the offense keeps on coming. Miami already has 3 base hits, damn near the same amount they had in each of Games 1 and 2. Jesus Sanchez grounds it to second. Big opportunity for the Mets to turn 2. And they do. 4-6-3 double play. Jazz Chisholm does make it to third, though. We'll see if Brian De La Cruz, who drove in a run off the bench in Game 3, can drive in Jazz. Short answer, yes. He rips a single into center. Jazz Chisholm scores, and it's 2-0 as the Marlins add to their early lead. Good to see Brian De La Cruz making some plays here, as that'll bring up Khalil Watson. Count is full, 3-2. He draws a walk. So the Marlins have 2 runners aboard and an opportunity to really do some damage to this lead because the next 2 batters are lefty mashers, Luis Rengifo and MJ Melendez. Rengifo goes down looking, though, and Coco Pozo gets out at the second. He does allow another run, though, and the Marlins lead 2-0. Josh Naylor checks his swing. Looks like he went around. Good pitch by Meyer. Now it's Bobby Witt Jr. swinging a miss on the fastball for the second out. Another good pitch by Meyer, who's looking pretty strong so far. 3-1 for Meadows. Hit sharply into center. Kevin Alcantara trails after it, and he makes the grab. Good start here through 2. Max Meyer looks the part up to this point, and the offense has carried over the momentum from Game 3. MJ Melendez takes a big swing and miss, though, on a 12-6 curve. A great pitch by Pozo. 2 away now for Woody Landry, and he hits a liner into right field. It's got some carry. It's gone into the seats. Solo homer for Woody Landry, his 3rd of the postseason, his 2nd in as many games. Miami adds to the lead. It's now 3-0. The Marlins have scored in 10 of the possible 12 innings today. That is ridiculous. Yoan Moncada strikes out. 1 away now and a full count for Ronnie Mauricio. And he rips this one into center. Alcantara, it's going to be a tough play. He cannot come down with it as it rolls all the way to the wall. The Mets get their first hit of the game as Mauricio's thinking 3. And the throw from Jazz Chisholm is not in time. A triple for Ronnie Mauricio, and we'll see if the Mets can drive him in. Manuel Margot draws a walk. Not the worst outcome for the Marlins because a ground ball could lead to a double play. Espinal, ground ball, but it gets by Jazz Chisholm for a single, and the Mets are on the board. It's 3-1. So a quick response here from New York. We'll see if they can add some more. Brandon Nimmo, liner to first. Woody Landry blocks it, tags first, can't get any more outs. So the Mets do advance the runners, if nothing else, and now there's 2 runners in scoring position. Base hit from Alvarez theoretically ties the game, and he goes down looking on the fastball. Both teams trade off runs here in the 3rd as the Marlins lead at 3-1. I got to imagine Coco Pozo's leash is pretty short. I mean, he's 21, he's young, he's a rookie, and he hasn't pitched all that well today. So the Mets need him to show something quick as he strikes out Alcantara. Jesus Sanchez now. Count is 2-2, and Sanchez strikes out on the fastball. Dating back to the last game, I think the Marlins have scored in probably about 7 or 8 consecutive innings. Can Pozo finally kill off the streak as De La Cruz pops it up over to first? Josh Naylor comes down with it. And so the Mets finally get a scoreless inning. They've still got some work to do, trailing 3-1. The offense did start to get something going and obviously scored in the last inning. But they're not going to do anything here. Meyer retires beside, finished off by a strikeout on Austin Meadows. Only 2 hits today for the Mets as we move into the 5th. Khalil Watson is up for Miami, and he will start the inning with a walk, his 2nd of the game. And so Miami gets an early base runner, and a pretty fast one at that. Isaac Stu now swings and misses on the slider, swung way too late. Another strong inning from Coco Pozo. I said that he needed to step up for the Mets to keep him in, and he has done exactly that over the last couple of innings, and right now he's hot. Maybe the Mets get another inning out of him. Bottom 5, Yoan Moncada rips it into left center. It's got some carry. It goes off the wall, off the top of the wall, bouncing into Alcantara's glove, but it will be a double. And the Mets start the inning with a runner in scoring position and a great opportunity to really put themselves back in the game. Margot with a sharp grounder to short that will score the run, and the Mets cut the lead in half. It's now 3-2. Meyer now faces off against Santiago Espinal, his 99th pitch of the night, and Espinal rips this one down the line and fair. It'll roll to the wall. He's going to stay at first. Good hustle by Jesus Sanchez, but the Mets get themselves a base knock. We'll see what Brandon Nimmo can do. He lofts this one into left. It's got some carry, and it's barely foul. Oh, man, that was close. The Marlins might have just dodged a bullet. So now, following pitch, counts 1-2. Meyer looking to rebound after nearly allowing an extra base hit as Nimmo grounds it to short. Jazz Chisholm tags second, and Meyer gets out of the inning. The Mets added another run. It's now 3-2. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Marlins go to the bullpen for the rest of the night. But interestingly, the Mets will not do the same. They're going to roll with Coco Pozo, who's had 106 pitches. Pozo really struggled early in this game, but the Mets feel like he'll be able to carry in the momentum that he's built over the last couple of innings as he strikes out Jazz Chisholm. Now against Kevin Alcantara, the 2-2, pops it up. And Pozo will make it through the sixth. He hasn't allowed any base hits or runs, obviously, since the third, putting the Mets essentially back in the game as it remains 3-2. Out of the bullpen for the Marlins will be Reynaldo Lopez, the veteran righty, who has a postseason ERA at 11. He's allowed 3 runs in 2 1/3 innings, so hopefully he can, not struggle and get out of this inning without any additional damage done. Here's Josh Naylor. Rips it into left field. It rolls all the way to the wall. Sanchez gets to it quickly. Naylor heads to second. The throw from Sanchez is in time. He got him. What a throw by Jesus Sanchez. He's got a cannon out there in left field as he throws out the runner. Bobby Witt Jr. goes down on the curveball, and so Reynaldo Lopez gets through the inning. 1-2-3 with a little help from Jesus Sanchez in left field. Into the seventh now. Coco Pozo's day is done. He'll be replaced by Diego Rodriguez, who pitched in the last game. He didn't pitch well, though. His ERA moved up to 27. That is awfully high. I don't know what the Mets see in him. Jesus Sanchez leads things off. He hits it high and deep and a left at the track, at the wall. That was a close one, but it is caught by Manuel Margot. Khalil Watson is now up for the Marlins. He's walked in each of his first 2 at-bats. Third time's the charm. How about a hat trick? Another walk for Watson. That'll bring up Luis Rengifo. With Rodriguez being a lefty, the Marlins still have the favorable matchups with Rengifo and Melendez, although Rengifo only flies out to center, and so Rodriguez gets through the inning. It remains 3-2 as we move into the bottom of the seventh. Camilo Doval comes into the game for the Marlins. He's allowed 1 run in 4 1/3 postseason innings. That 1 run did give him a loss, so he's looking to avenge that here as Meadows crushes it into right. If it's fair, it's gone. It's just barely foul by not even a yard. 2.7 feet. 2-2 now for Meadows. Ooh, the Mets get one back. That pitch was in the strike zone. It's called a ball. Now the count is full. And that pitch was not in the zone, and they call strike 3. What a weird at-bat. That pitch was very clearly high, but they get the call. Mauricio now. High fly into left, and this one is barely foul again. This time by 5.7 feet. What an unlucky inning for the Mets, and it'll finish with Mauricio striking out looking. The Mets were feet away from 2 homers. They got a bad call with Brandon Nimmo. What a disaster. Still 3-2 in the 8th as Rodriguez retires beside Woody Landry with a quick ground out. Rodriguez is actually pitching pretty well to his credit. The Marlins still do not have any hits since the 3rd inning. That's not ideal. What a fall from grace from the offense, who looked unstoppable. Johan Duran is going to come into the game out of the bullpen. The Marlins are now using the back-end bullpen of death. Duran in the 8th, Clase in the 9th. Margot with a liner to first. Nice play by Woody Landry for the first out. Santiago Espinal now pops it up. That pitch was outside. Duran fooled him, and Melendez barely gets to it. That was a close call. The Marlins are 4 outs away from taking a 3-1 series lead. Big at bat here for Brandon Nimmo. He's got to get something going here for the New York offense as he rips it into left field. Oppo Poppo. That's a single. New York's got their base runner. We'll see if they can look to bring him in and possibly tie the game, as that will bring up the middle of the order. The Beef Boys. Cleanup hitter Francisco Alvarez, 1-1. Grounds it to second. Watson makes the play. And Johan Duran makes it out of the 8th. The Marlins lead at 3-2. They are in the power position. Again, despite the fact that the offense has quickly gone ice cold. A complete roller coaster offensively from Miami today as we move into the 9th. Jazz Chisholm rips a liner into right center. It goes off the wall. Finally, a base hit, the first in 6 innings. Jazz Chisholm makes it to second with a double, and the Marlins start the inning with a runner in scoring position. Perfect opportunity to add some insurance and add some cushioning for Emmanuel Clase in the bottom of the 9th. Alcantara down the line and fair. It bounces off the foul wall, and so Jazz Chisholm's going to have to stay at third. But nonetheless, the Marlins are in a great spot. They've got runners on the corners with nobody out. There's no excuse to not get at least one. Jesus Sanchez has a full count. Pitch from Rodriguez, and he got him on the high fastball. That would have been a walk as well. The Marlins have been disciplined today, but not there, clearly. Brian De La Cruz now, the 1-2. Pops it up into center. Nimmo under it. He will make the play, and Jazz Chisholm will be sent back to third. I think that's the right decision. Not enough room for a sac fly. He would have clearly been out. Now the Marlins are going to need a base hit to get these runs in, as it's Khalil Watson, who has 3 walks today. That pitch on the outside corner of the strike zone is called, and Watson finds himself behind 1-2. Big pitch from Rodriguez as the slider is well outside. He wanted to fool Watson. Doesn't work. Evens things back up at 2-2. Watson hasn't put the bat to the ball all day until now. He pops it into center. It's got a chance to drop, and it does not. Bobby Witt tracks it down in no man's land. The Marlins open up the inning with runners in the corners. They actually got some hits together, but they're unable to drive them in. It remains 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for Emmanuel Clase, who is 2 for 2 in save opportunities this postseason. He hasn't allowed a base runner yet, let alone a run. So hopefully he can keep it going, get the save, and put the Marlins up into series 3-1. His former Cleveland teammate, Josh Naylor, bloops it into left, and there's the base runner. Naylor, the tying run is aboard, and interestingly, the Mets will not go to a pinch runner, even though he's really slow. Bobby Witt's going to look to move him up with a bunt. The bunt works out so well that Bobby Witt Jr. is safe at first, and now the winning run is on base. The tying run's at second, winning run's at first. There's nobody out. Austin Meadows singles into right. Naylor will not head home. De La Cruz with a quick throw. And now the bases are loaded, and a base hit wins it as Ryan McKenna comes in as a pinch runner for Austin Meadows. Seems kind of odd because the winning run's at second, but okay. Yoan Moncada pops it up and a right. De La Cruz is under it. The Mets will send Naylor. The throw to the plate is offline. It was close, and the sac fly is successful. We're tied at 3, and Bobby Witt Jr. makes it to third. The Mets just have to avoid a double play as Mauricio grounds it to third. To Watson. To Landry. Miami keeps the game alive with a double play, but still a successful inning for the Mets. They score, and we're tied at 3 going into the 10th. Top of the order up for the Marlins. Diego Rodriguez is still in as Rengifo hits this one high and deep into center. At the track, at the wall, it's caught. A close one. As the Mets get lucky there, they dodge a bullet. Melendez 0 for 4 against lefties today, make it 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. And obviously Melendez rakes against lefties. What's happening? Isaac Stu, grounder to short. Bobby Witt Jr. makes the play, and Diego Rodriguez retires the side. 4 scoreless innings for Rodriguez, who in just the last game imploded. What a change. Emmanuel Clase is still in the game, and he allows this hit by Manuel Margot to start the bottom of the 10th. It's a leadoff double, and the Mets had the winning run in scoring position. It has not been a good game from Clase, and the Marlins are going to yank him. He'll be replaced by the lefty, Brett Martin. The Mets had the winning run at second base with the 2, 3, 4 hitters up. Espinal draws a walk. Doesn't really matter. The runner at second's the one that matters. Nimmo down the line, past Rengifo. Run looks to score. The throw to the plate is a bullet, but it's not in time. And the New York Mets win it 4-3. They tie the series at 2. What a win for the Mets. The Marlins led this game 3-0 in the third inning. Our offense had scored 20 runs in the first 12 innings of this 2-game set today. And we did nothing offensively after that. with 2 base hits the rest of the game. That's not enough. And unfortunately, our pitching wasn't quite able to hold up long enough in order to finish off the job. Our offense started off hot. We scored in each of the first 3 innings, and then, well, we completely fell apart. We had homers from Rengifo and Landry, another RBI from De La Cruz, but it wasn't enough. Meyer pitched well, the bullpen pitched well, but it was really Emmanuel Clase, our all-star closer, who blew the game. He allowed all those base runners in the 9th, he allowed the run, and then he allowed Manuel Margot to reach base. And with that, the series is tied at 2, and things get interesting. Things are also looking interestingly in the American League. The Guardians took games 1 and 2 in Minnesota, and then the Twins take 3 and 4 in Cleveland. So both series are tied at 2. Next episode, we've got games 5 and 6. Game 5 in Queens, game 6 in Miami. Will either team advance to the World Series, or are we headed to a game 7? Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.